When you go onto YouTube, you have so much content available to you. It's free for you to watch, but is it actually made for free? Is it just this crazy portal where people just like to make things solely for others? Yes, people can monetize their videos and earn money from that, even sell you their merchandise. But is that all the creator is getting back from it? In this video, we will take a look at what goes on from the creator's side, what they get out of making videos, and what you can do if you choose to, whether or not the videos have a lot of views or very little. The first benefit of making videos: experience with developing ideas into a planned form to build on. So let's explore the concept of an idea first. The actual definition of an idea is a thought or suggestion as to a possible course of action. An idea is only realized when you recognize a possible course of action and make it into an actual course of action. I can have hundreds of ideas for videos, but that does not mean these are realized ideas by any means. An analogy would be the initial ideas we have are essentially like a raw material, say for example, a lump of clay with no shape or polish. You can envision what would come of this clay. You realize this material can be developed into some sort of value by molding it, then drying it and painting it. Say for example, a bowl, a refined end product. Initial ideas, once written, need a specification with depth, clarity and framing. The person needs to figure out what kind of bowl they want to make. What is it meant to be used for? What kind of shape will it have? What kind of design? So I'm gonna give another two quick examples of having an initial idea and then giving more thought into developing them. Example 1. Imagine that you want to make some sort of new social media website for talking to friends. That alone is very broad. You know what you want to do in essence, what kind of service it provides, but then you spend time on developing the thoughts further and you realize you may come to want to make something like Facebook or Twitter or something like Discord or Omegle because you specified the features more, the specifics of the design. Many social media websites have very similar features like the text chat, adding a friend's functionality, etc. But all in the end up their own product, unique. The initial idea behind the website had a very general outline that matured into something very different as a whole. Example 2. In this instance, the person wants to make a painting of flowers. Okay, you have an idea of what that means when imagining flowers, but when you actually come to acting on developing the idea, you start to think, what pot should they be in? Are they even gonna be in a pot? What kind of flowers are they? What would be the background? Are they blooming or are some of the flowers just buds? The point here is to demonstrate how there are so many factors to consider. When you want to make a video, the initial idea will need the general bigger picture version and the details specified sufficiently. You realize it often requires identifying and outlining the main features and smaller and relevant components more, or even much more, either through research, maybe talking to someone about it in different ways. Asking different relevant questions that help define a general vision, such as, what is the main purpose of the video? What kind of things would it explore? What are the key concepts and main takeaway? Making something interesting includes different perspectives, outlining reasons for the video on a personal level and why others should want to watch it. Articulating ideas, whether spontaneously or within an extended set of time, allows you to see what kind of shape or lack of shape your thoughts have when spoken or written. Topics can be covered with varying thoroughness. When you attempt to expand on them, it is sometimes really hard to express coherently, or even know what kind of things to express when it comes to writing out these thoughts on paper or speaking about them. Sometimes you can just loosely, freely write and talk about the things and gradually come to a better way of articulating it more clearly. Or you just come to the point of concluding that you need much more time than you might have initially thought. One way to help is to break the concept you want to express into chunks. First, find the bullet points or bones of the idea that matter. Then you can arrange them into some meaningful arrangement, maybe chronologically, or most important to least important, or broad information first, then get into the details. You can then expand on the bullet points and build in the nuance and information between them, or in other words, flesh out the idea. Put the flesh on the bones of the idea. Giving yourself time to work on this kind of development process allows for more distilled and clarified understandings to form that are much easier to understand yourself and share with others. It's like a low-resolution image slowly transforming into a higher-resolution image. Often many good articulations were and are made over long periods of time, with a lot of effort and trial and error. Once getting a grasp on how to do it, the creator can expand on whatever is of interest. And finally, figuring out the presentation. Thought needs to go on how to present an idea. Illustrating something via speech is often aided by different examples and scenarios. Maybe these are visual, using video clips to complement what's been said. Maybe these examples are spoken about separately as some sort of story. Is there going to be a particular aesthetic to match the topic perhaps? All these things you get to figure out. The second benefit of making videos is that the creator often gets a better perspective of the topic for themselves. They say that to be able to teach a thing helps you learn the thing better yourself. When trying to explain or describe different parts, you start to notice which places you get stuck on. Other times you see how others react to what you're saying, and sometimes you discover that you might actually be missing pieces to the bigger picture. Or not really, and the information you are conveying is being understood as you intended pretty well. It's also called the Protégé Effect. Practicing sharing information tends to improve communication skills and makes you more actively aware of how to be more chronological in explaining something. It can increase your motivation, helps you improve the organization of material, and actually helps you remember the topics because of all the repetition. This also brings me to the concept of a sounding board. Now, what is a sounding board? Having a person as a sounding board in the figurative sense comes from the idea of a physical sounding board. It's a board placed somewhere to reflect the speaker's voice forward. So when you share thoughts forward, a person who is acting as a sounding board will be someone that you can talk to about things which can help you understand or work through the thoughts you are having better. That could be a family member, friends, a mentor, or even a person you meet at an event where you're at the moment. In the case of YouTube, having people to share their response to what you are posting helps you gain some views that you might have not gotten yourself otherwise. These could be from comments or wherever people are able to engage, helping you see new aspects to whatever you're doing. Feedback helps you elevate strengths, flaws, and clarify your thinking, reasoning, and even how you feel about a thing. It could lead you to adding more coherencies or having your initial thinking challenged. The third benefit of making videos is having a creative outlet. Having a blank canvas to make your own. Doesn't that sound fun? For the majority of creators, the answer is yes. A form of just letting things flow and making something out of it. People tend to enjoy getting into a flow state. You might have heard it said in other ways, such as being in the zone or getting into a groove. Your focus is all in. You feel the stress, chaos, and even aches and pains of life melt away. You can be totally absorbed into doing something you find interesting and exploratory. Sometimes you might bring something new into the world, maybe which has never been seen by anyone or even yourself before. You could be doing a sport, building something, fixing something, or playing some sort of video game, and get into this flow state. However, creating something isn't always just flowy fun and no hard work and frustration. There's a super pleasant period, but after you still have to pause and see if what you wrote or made makes sense. That's the part that takes the most time and is rather tedious. For me, making these scripts, I actually read them multiple times sometimes. I don't like the rambles I do, or something else just doesn't go right and I have to do it again. Reading the script is probably the hardest part. Anyway, that does not take away from the fact that there is a very enjoyable part of the process too. It's very worth experiencing. There are a lot of intentions and emotions when it comes to the why of creating videos and seeing their completion through till having the end product. A lot of the stuff people make is just because they want to see something in the world that doesn't currently exist, or simply wanting to exist in a space of self-expression for the sake of the process more than the result, or minding sharing it, wanting to make your own expression of whatever you make. This article is great at going through so many of the benefits of having an outlet for your mental health and all the other things. As you can see, there are some amazing points here I'd definitely recommend checking out. Reading through it really helped me solidify that, because personally I needed to write. That is probably my biggest outlet, not even speaking about things, just to write. The fourth benefit of making videos is learning to use different creative elements and tools. A lot of YouTubers like to add visuals to complement their content, whether collated images / videos that matches what's being said, like what I'm doing basically right here, or creating / using animations with interesting transitions. Learning to use editing programs or animation programs becomes a skill that can be transformed into making all sorts of things in the future. It opens up a mode of expressing all sorts of thoughts, observations, opinions, ideas, and stories, and isn't as daunting of a task as it might have seemed in the beginning. Once getting the hang of something, it then becomes more fun to use. You start with some basic skill, and with more practice, your skills become more advanced. The quality of the videos you make now improves. Eventually, after some practice, the creative production process sets in to slowly becoming a second nature. The fifth benefit of making videos: gaining more self-confidence. Confidence forms from doing something to overcome an initial fear and feelings of uncertainty. Expressing thoughts either by speaking or doing something in front of the camera isn't something a lot of people are instantly that confident about. There is a level of confidence in trying to make something good and well-intended, even if you don't know what kind of responses you'll get from it, or what kind of interpretations people might have. In reality, until you start creating stuff, the world of what comes out of your work is kind of a hidden landscape, a mystery, even if people don't really like them. In time, the level of courage of many content creators will get to the point where they feel empowered on making videos. This, more often than not, is because of the amount of positivity they are receiving versus the negativity. A big reason why content creators love their fans and often say their channel wouldn't have been possible without them is because of the things that empowered them to come back to make another video. These are the effects of positive reinforcements from their audience, overcoming fear to create something and just seeing an idea take shape as being a form that now actually exists in the world and is ultimately very fulfilling to see. You realize just because someone likes or dislikes a video doesn't really matter much in the end. The sixth benefit of making videos: it reaffirms purpose of making videos when the creator sees people getting benefit out of them. Often when a YouTuber makes a video, the ideal outcome is that the content can help the viewers achieve preferred or better outcomes in some aspects of their life. In other words, positive value. Whether it is entertainment, understanding something new, novelty, or learning how to do something, whether it adds up to being an enjoyable moment of their day or potent advice which can help with specific situations, or just adding to the idea space. Providing someone with even a nugget of information that can help their life is a very rewarding thing. Even having the opportunity to do that is a social reward, basically a positive feedback loop between people, a win-win. The loop is completed by the viewer by incorporating an action or idea from the video you made into helping their own understanding or future actions. Sometimes content is just for entertainment, and that's awesome too. Sharing fun and good times can brighten people up to not take life too seriously and just enjoy the enjoyable. Seventh benefit of making videos: building a portfolio of sorts. There is a lot of value in having a final product. Every video added onto a channel is like a new added book into a library, or like a new painting in a gallery. Eventually there will be enough content to support a narrative that you want to be out there in the world, either to a small extent or a bigger one. For one, it will exist for you. This webpage does an awesome job of showing the advantages of a portfolio in general. Like with the last article, I'll scroll a bit through this one slowly and you can visit the link after yourself and it will be in the description. Righty, eighth benefit of making a video. You understand that the form of the video might not be ideal, but it doesn't have to be the final form. Ideally, I would want to have all formats of presenting my ideas available to me, like high quality animations for example, personalized graphics, simulations, even movies. But I can't get to that kind of thing straight away. Learning to accept that and starting somewhere, putting an effort to make something with the resources you have is essential to doing anything at all. Just because I have made something one way and finished it, doesn't mean I can't make the same thing differently another time. Having patience with the pace of progress you make with what you have is the key to not stalling on making something. Ninth benefit of making videos: further engagement. Nowadays, engagement with ideas and various topics often are taken to social platforms. Sure, a lot of those interactions and conversations will be surface level and mostly banter, but sometimes there will be great deep conversations that happen there. In some conversations, people hypothesize different outcomes for incorporating actions in society, or people just bounce around thoughts with each other and express how they feel. This kind of thing is very interesting. when people just talk about their opinions, perspectives, and own experiences. It creates a pool of insights for others to read through and think about and respond to. Having something you made to be a point of discussion is very exciting and cool. The big 10th benefit of making videos. In the end, you got a real video making experience. Even though stuff is captured and is on a screen by the end, and you made a bit of media, in reality it was connected to the real events in a person's life. Behind the scenes was a process that could have been hours of someone's day. It could have been weeks, months of your own life, or even a team of people's lives. Making stuff really does take time. All the little pieces have to come together. As a creator, you lived through making that video, lived in the process of setting up a script, thinking about what would be visually complementary to what you're saying, and putting together the whole video. It was a real process. Once you've developed a video, whether it's a draft or final product, at the end of the video you have something that has form which you can review, reflect on, and that could in time update and remodel. You can also reference or repeat some of the refined points or concepts, drawing from the video again when it's relevant to something in the future. The idea you first had now exists as a form. Yes, there could have been many forms it could have taken, but the one that was taken is the initial idea now sculpted, like the clay that turned into a ball. So when a creator makes a video, they get the experience of seeing just how much goes into expanding an initial note. Now we are finally on the last point, the 11th benefit of making videos. The true extent of how you may help someone is unknown. The true receiving end, in its full extent, is hidden beyond the comment section, even hidden from you, from the viewer's side. There are immediate effects and delayed effects of watching a video. Think about this. Sometimes you learn something and kind of just get on with your day. And then a situation or scenario pops up of some sort, and you suddenly remember a lesson you learned from a video. Some things are learned and are kept in the mind's archive, somewhere in the long-term memory storage, for a long time, even if you forget about whatever it is. This is until you start trying to receive certain information and trigger memory starts up and you remember information that is now useful to the situation or event. This could happen at any time. People don't always share these stories, and a lot of comments are from immediate impressions or thoughts. Sometimes you never know when someone found what you said or did very useful in the long run. That has happened to me many times. I would get upset about something and then I would remember a quote. I would get angry about something and then remember a quote, whatever. From the creator's side, at the end of making a video, you would have gotten a lot of experience, and you also often get new ideas of what videos you might want to make in the future. Maybe you get too many of those and find it hard to keep working on one particular one, blah blah blah. Okay, for me, writing the script made me go on some branching tangents that could be expanded into their own videos, for example. While it does take a lot of sustained effort to put a video together, you do learn a lot while doing it, and it's rewarding in the end. It was mostly a pleasure making this video from my side, so let me know what you thought about it in the comment section below. If you watched it this far already, thank you very much. So yeah, I really appreciate it. If you liked the video, do give it a thumbs up and subscribe, it does mean a lot. And yeah, stick around if you want to watch more videos like this. Bye!